What does this have to do with Atlanta being a black city and being one of the blackest fan bases in the NFL? What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing, to be quite honest with you. I think she just added it in to fit whatever narrative she wanted to paint.
Well,
That's all.
or she knew it was going to get interacted with. Welcome to episode 302 of Empty the Bench here on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. He's Zain, Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. Follow us on social media at ETB Sports, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Like and subscribe. Make sure you go and find us. We are climbing the subscriber number. So please help us. Follow us on the network at ETB Network for all shows, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at ETB Network. If you can't watch on the video side, listen to Empty the Bench and all our network shows wherever you get your podcast. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Acast, you know the deal by now. So I'm in an extra spicy mood today.
Yes, you certainly are. Or I guess it's a good mix. You're in the spicy mood, and I'm a little bit more calm today. It's at the time that this is coming out for most of you, it's pretty cold wherever you may be, or at least in most of the country. It's cold certainly where Nick and I are. That's for sure. It's in the teens and the negatives for some. It's not pleasant, but hopefully this is a way to at least keep you guys inside and keep you guys warm for at least the next hour and 10 minutes or so.
Let's just say I had to pick up a foot of snow in the last 2 days. So if I'm a little perplexed over some of these stories, it's because I've been out in the cold for 2 straight days. And we kept getting plowed in every single time, which was just even more annoying.
Yep, so, I hear you.
Yeah, you're in Chicago. I'm in New York. It's cold. It's freezing. I forgot.
Well, luckily I'm not in Chicago proper. But if I was closer to the lake, I'd be even colder. But it still is pretty cold. But please continue.
So Nick D said this on ETV Lounge on Saturday. He's like, snow's not fun unless you're 12 years old or younger.
No, he's certainly right about that. It's more of an inconvenience thing than anything else. It's bad around here when the local universities are encouraging professors to do e-learning, and it's bad when high schools are closed for a couple of days, which usually doesn't happen.
Well, Tom told me that on Friday they were told that they're doing Monday remote learning in the city here.
That is absurd.
Well, no, they have to because they have
to. No, absurd just in a sad way because it screws up the whole schedule.
Well, you know what? That since COVID now, they're not going to use snow days anymore because they know how to do remote learning.
I know.
So, but I'm not going to get off on that tangent. But it's called, if you're looking for something to listen to, put us in your ears. Hey, if you're out shoveling and you wear headphones or you wear earbuds, you could listen to us ramble about the NFC AFC Championship weekend and recapping that. Which, by the way, tale of 2 games. By the way,
yeah, tale of 2 games, and because we weren't on last week, we didn't give our picks, but we will be transparent. And as we recap these, we will update you guys who we did have. Luckily, just to give you guys a hint, if you've been paying attention, at least one of our Super Bowl teams from each of us made it in, which actually kind of gives away what the matchup ended up becoming. So I guess that's a perfect segue into recapping both of those games, right?
We'll do that for sure. We're going to start there, but we're going to give you Super Bowl predictions because we're in that time of the year. By the way, is it crazy that we're at Super Bowl prediction time already?
Yeah, I mean, this season's gone by fast. I feel like just yesterday we were sitting in the middle of August waiting for the NFL season to start. NFL and college football. And look, college football is now over. Indiana won the national championship, and now we're only, under 2 weeks away from Super Bowl 60. So it's crazy how quickly time has flown by. So,
and by the way, and I'll say this at the end of the episode too, our network schedule is going to be open now for what, like a month or two, because you guys had the season finale of Forever Power 5, and we're transitioning into college basketball season and some NBA, and all that stuff. So now the calendar opens up slightly a little bit for breathing room, as I like to say.
Yeah, the calendar opens up slightly for breathing room, but for the other sport I solely pay attention to, that season, quote unquote, has just started. So it's crazy how quickly the calendar has shifted. So
But yeah, we'll get into all that. We'll give you Super Bowl prediction. I'll go over more. We're gonna have a live Super Bowl show on Friday, which I'll get into more at the end of the show. We'll talk about the NFL
would you
coaching
would
carousel.
you which just to clarify won't be this Friday, it'll be the
No,
Friday of the Super Bowl.
correct. So there's no football shows this week because it's the Pro Bowl week in between. No one gives two craps. Sorry about the Pro Bowl. They just don't. Unless you're some wacky NFL super fan that has to have NFL games or just some type of game to get by. But no one cares about the Pro Bowl, my opinion at least. Um, we'll get into the coaching carousel. A lot of movement in the last week or two, including some shocking names moving to certain places. Jemele Hill decides to make a race baiting comment again about Kevin Stefanski and the Falcons hiring situation, and you and I just shook our head when I read you the statement. Um, and then we'll get into the NBA and college basketball games being postponed. When I last checked, what was there 12 games that got their times moved?
Yeah.
In
12 games, they either got their times moved, their days moved, or were flat out canceled and not made up altogether, which is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll get into the UFC 324, which I watched. I think I watched the whole main card this time around. So I have some thoughts on it. Actually, Zain, you probably saw me typing away during it, probably too.
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, I didn't see your final message until way later in the evening. But yes, did see you typing away, and thank you to those who did interact with the polls because I think the polls did pretty well. A bunch of you guys, including myself, were wrong on our predictions, but we live and we learn on those. So I'm excited to go over those and a few other things that we have to get to. But without further ado, I'd say let's get to the championship games now.
So let's get into the games. NFC, AFC Championship weekend, tale of two games. Um, I say we start on the Patriots Broncos side, the AFC.
Yeah, because
Um,
we gotta go in game order of when the games were. So
so this game already had headlines going into it. Obviously, Bo Nix with the broken ankle obviously didn't start. Jared Stidham starts. I think some of the BS on social media was not fair towards Jared Stidham. J-
it was not fair at all. It was not fair at all. And even guys coming out and saying that, oh, we would have won today with Bo Nix, like that's just being a terrible teammate.
right. And by the way, it's not like Jared Stidham is a complete uh, garbage throwaway. He's
No, and
had starts in the NFL.
he's had starts in the NFL, Nick, but he's never had a start of that magnitude
Agreed.
where he's one game away from the Super Bowl. And this isn't to make an excuse, but the weather didn't do him any favors either. My goodness. Like, I get it, the Patriots won and the Patriots did what they needed to do late in the game, but it's just so hard to play in those conditions. It really is. And you can't tell me that it didn't have an impact on the game when it clearly did.
It
So
was a tale of two halves. The weather, like, remember the game started, it was a completely empty field, and then it started to snow, uh, and then at one point I forgot who was the sideline for that game because it was CBS. It was
oh geez. Evan Washburn.
well, Evan was on one side, and then I forgot the woman's name, and now I feel bad because she's the lead with Nance and Romo, but she was saying that like when you face one way, the wind and the snow was hitting you in the face, and the other way you were kicking away from it. Um, the weather conditions were unbearable at one point, and
Oh, Nick, Tracy Wolfson.
thank you. And sorry, Tracy. I like Tracy. I like her on the broadcast. Tracy was like facing. She had to turn the camera guy the other way so she wasn't getting pelted in the face.
Yeah, I mean, you know that the conditions are bad if she has to do that. But in regards to the game itself, though, I'm just gonna be honest. The Patriots won this game. Not to take anything away, but some of
Defense.
these, well, defensively, but some of these coaching decisions by Sean Payton made no sense.
It's true. And clock management was terrible down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and also the Broncos just had no answer offensively.
I mean, to miss two critical field goals that you had to have was just brutal.
What about not attempting the one in the first half and not taking the points? And
That made no sense at all.
and by the way, we're almost said it towards the end of the game. That would have reflected it would have been a tie. It would have been a different game
Yeah,
at that point.
they would have had to go to overtime more than likely if the score held. Yeah.
Now in the long run, I think the longer that game goes, I think it would have favored the Patriots the longer it went. But and there's also this other weird thing that goes around on social media where people are like, "Oh, well, it's this big Herculean effort to win in the snow," or some people don't like the snow games. I think snow games are great, to be quite honest. I think it adds some flair.
Snow games are great. I will give you that. There's no question about it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that if Bo Nix plays, Denver wins, but do they make
No.
but do they make the same number of mistakes that they did in this game or make some of the mental errors they did? Probably not. And the game is probably closer, and who knows what happens, but I mean, to go out there and to do what they did, that staff, obviously Mike Vrabel having to prove himself as a brand new coach in a new system, and to get into I'm just going to say this, and I know they've kind of been off for a while, but I feel like this was the first game where Drake May's training wheels really came off, and he was managing that offense as such to where the guidance he needed earlier in the season just wasn't there, and he was making some pretty good throws in some really tough conditions. They had a few drives and a few throws where you were like, wow, that's a really high quality throw in a really difficult spot. And I just think New England played as well as they could have. Could they have won by more? Sure, but they did exactly what they needed to do. And again, as you just alluded to, that defense was swarming those guys all day. And you just knew from the first series that the tone was basically set, how that game was going to go. And it was a knockdown, drag out slugfest. I mean, they were hitting receivers over the middle of the field. Like they were making Denver's offense very uncomfortable throughout much of that game. And no surprise that New England was able to carry those guys, get that winning first down, and secure the AFC Championship, because that was a really, 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 really interesting finish. And I can tell you what, if special teams doesn't play the factor it does for Denver, I think we're talking about a different game. Are we talking about a different result? No, but I will say this: New England did win. What did piss me off, though, and I'm sure it pissed you off too. With 6 minutes to go in the game, New England had a chance to cover, and they couldn't cover. And I was so disappointed. I'm like, oh my God, I just needed one more score.
Well, I changed my pick right before when we were on the show, and I said, I think this is going to be an under. And lo and behold, it was way under the 42.5.
Right.
And Johnny and I think Tom also had under, he did, under 42.5. I just had a feeling this was going to be a defensive slugfest, which it ended up being. Now, there's a lot of debate about Drake May in the playoffs, and he hasn't had a great game yet.
Here's my defense of Drake May. You can't control who you're playing every week. People are talking about,
no. Wait a minute. Hold on. That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
What I'm saying is he hasn't looked good in the playoffs right now, currently. Like, the defense has won them a lot of games in the playoffs currently. If the defense doesn't play the way it's playing, I don't know if they're playing in a Super Bowl right now. I mean, he had 86 yards total in this game. You can't win a game like that. How do you win?
They did though.
No, I get it, but I'm saying 10 of 21 for 86 yards, and he got sacked 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
How do you win a game? I mean, they won this game strictly on defense. Now, the one thing, and Ben and I discussed this obviously because he's the Patriots fan of this network. Um, the one thing I defended him on is, and people are idiotic when it comes to discussing team schedules, and they say, well, the Patriots got here because they had an incredibly easy regular season schedule and they got lucky with certain things that happened in the playoffs with Stidham instead of Bo Nix. Or
You can't control what happens to other teams. You can only control what happens
right.
to your own team and who you play.
I think the regular season easy schedule argument is ridiculous. You play the schedule that's in front of you and you have to win the games. That's it. Like if it I don't know. What do you think about that?
What
Like
do I think of the easy schedule argument? Well, you're guaranteed to play your divisional opponents twice,
right.
and you can't fully predict who's going to be outside the conference because it all depends on the standings of the other divisions. So people need to just get a gripe. What do you want people to do? What do you want? What do you want New England to do? Purposely lose games? That would obviously be a huge integrity thing, which they obviously didn't do that. So of course they're going to play the schedule they're dealt.
And Ben made a really good point the other night. He's like, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. Like, if we don't win the games we're supposed to win, then people are going to say we're a bad team. But if we win the games and we win on an easy schedule, then we're assholes too. Like, so you can't win.
I mean, I would argue. And this isn't to make it about them because they're out now, but I would argue a similar thing could be said about the Bears. There was some arguments that the middle of their schedule was extremely easy too. But what do you want? What do you want? What do you want the Bears or any of these other teams? It can apply to any team. What do you want some of these other really good teams record wise to do? Not win the games that are on their schedule?
Yeah, and I just thought it was funny during the broadcast, like that they couldn't even see the numbers on the field. Did you see they used the enhanced graphics?
I did, yeah.
And I was like, and you see Nance and Romo. By the way, Nance and Romo have dropped a peg big time. Like,
Well, if you want me to be fully honest, I didn't even listen to him. I listened to Scott Zolak on 98.5 The Sports Hub because I couldn't stand listening to Nance and Romo Sunday.
would you say their quality is dropped?
Yeah, especially since the Chiefs are out of it now, they seem a little bored.
No, but I'm saying quality wise, like they've dropped like in quality. Like, first of all, I can't stand Romo at all. Like, it's just a pain. Yeah, you know what, Jim? You know what, Jim? Like, how many times do I have to hear that in a freaking broadcast? And then, by the way, did you see Sterator flip flop on that call of the forward pass or fumble or whatever?
Yeah, that was well, I didn't hear it, but I heard he did flip flop, which is something he usually doesn't do. I don't get that.
Well, what's your thought? And this has been a debate too, like across a lot of people. I don't like the whole rules analyst person. Like it's really just annoying and not needed.
I don't really have an opinion about it other than the fact that I think it slows the game down.
I agree.
And I think if you're going to do a rules analyst, only make it 30 seconds, show the best angle, and be done with it.
Explain what happened on the field, why the call was made, and then get out so we can see the game.
Which is what Mike Pereira does.
Yeah, and Pereira's good. I don't like Dean Blandino. He kind of annoys me a little.
I don't really have an opinion.
But you know what? It was a great defensive battle. There really was no offense to be had in this game.
Right. And speaking of no offense, it was the exact opposite in the NFC Championship between Seattle and the Rams. Seattle wins the game to go to the Super Bowl. It was their second win against the Rams out of the 3 times the two teams played this season. And I just want to say, how about Jackson Smith and Jigba stepping up in the biggest game of his career, 10 catches, 100+ yards,
153. Yeah.
Breaking Justin Jefferson's rookie record for all-purpose yards and then breaking Chris Hogan's first half AFC championship record from 2016. He is freaking awesome.
He's him and Puka are going to take over the league. And by the way, that I think that was part of the big matchup, Puka versus Smith and Jigba. Like that was incredible. Stafford versus Darnold, great matchup.
It
By the
was.
way,
It was. I mean, you tell me. Did you think that game lived up to the hype? Because I thought I thought it did.
I'm surprised that 58 points were scored in this game. I
There
know.
were some, and not to get too nitty gritty, but there were some tic tac calls on
Yes,
well, on both sides.
I thought the taunting call was kind of
Oh yeah, that was on Tariq. That was crazy.
where he was like yelling at the sideline, like
Yeah, yeah.
like come on, man, it's a playoff game. Like he made a
And he
huge
could have
defensive play.
he could have cost his team the game. He he
No, but
was.
but do you agree in that moment,
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
emotions are high? You made a huge play to almost intercept on third down. Like as a ref, you got to hold that flag in your pocket.
I
Like,
know. How about Devin Witherspoon making a huge play in the end zone
oh
to
yeah,
save
that too.
to save the game for Seattle? I mean, this is my bias kind of showing a little bit. He did that stuff at Illinois on a weekly basis, and to now see him do it in the NFL as now a guy who's made multiple Pro Bowls. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and by the way, Kenneth Walker had another huge game
Yeah, Kenneth Walker's and he is an open space. He can't be tackled.
because who was the original starting quarterback? Because he got hurt last week. Chabernet.
The original starting running back, you mean?
That's what I meant. Yeah,
Charbonnet,
Chabernet got.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Carbonet. He got blasted, if I remember, in the last game, and he's done for the playoffs,
Early
right?
early in the game too, yeah.
What was
Mhm.
that? The Niners game? Yeah,
Yes, correct. Yep.
where they absolutely tackled the 49ers 41-6. But
Destroyed those guys. They were, yeah. Oh,
um,
also, did you think the final play of the game was bizarre a little bit?
what was the remind me of the last play again?
Okay, so the final play of the game was the Rams were trying to get out of bounds so they could have one more
Yes.
play.
Oh, where Puka landed in bounds, right?
Yeah, and then what I didn't like was Seattle immediately running onto the field as soon as the game was over.
Well,
Because
they
I
they were
thought
they were not going to get back
no,
to.
I thought no, I know. I was confused though when the play ended because I thought there was still 1 second to go. I didn't realize that the clock had officially ran out. I'm like, oh shoot, the game's over.
I thought originally he had gotten out of bounds at first glance when he slid,
Hmm.
but first of all, that rule is very murky. By the way, what they consider out of bounds and what they consider a rolling clock when the ref is waving the game to continue.
Well, yeah, I don't know if you'll know what I'm talking about, but I'm gonna try to make it simple. The end of that game felt very 1970s to me. Well, like you saw that a lot when the Steelers were good in the 70s and they would beat the Raiders, and it would be like a really crazy ending, and everybody would sprint onto the field as soon as the game ended. That's what
It
that felt like. I don't know.
well,
It felt very strange.
I saw that last play. First of all, that was an incredible catch. By the way, Puka has incredible hands. Like, just he catches everything and anything. Like in traffic, he'll be defended by three guys, and somehow Stafford will slide a pass in between, and he'll get knocked all over the place and somehow catch footballs. Like, and by the way, he had another incredible game himself. 9 receptions, 165 yards, and a touchdown.
Yeah,
Like,
and then I mean, I just thought it was cool at the end of the game too, like Cooper Cup and him embracing because they used to be teammates, and then
yes.
Cooper Cup embracing Matt Stafford. I thought that was super classy, and then I'm sure you saw this too. Tariq going up to Sean McVay and shaking his hand and apologizing. That was pretty cool too.
Yeah, and by the way, Cooper Cup having a touchdown, considering all the stuff he's gone through.
Yeah.
Um, like Seattle on was there, just accomplished everything. By the way, Shaheed had another big 51 yarder. Also,
Sure did.
by the way, best pickup I think of the entire NFL season. I think, and I think that Shaheed for Seattle.
Yeah, and in a battle of semi-young coaches, Mike McDonald outlasted Sean McVay. It was a really good coaching matchup too.
Yeah, I mean,
McDonald is going to be there a long time. I think if they don't give him a contract extension in the next few years, Seattle's crazy.
he's got to be coach of the year, right?
Hmm.
Or do you, I mean, there's quite a few guys,
Well,
but
there's quite a few. There's him. There's
Vrabel.
him. There's Mike Vrabel. There's Ben Johnson. Although I don't think Ben Johnson's going to win Coach of the Year. I think it'll be between Vrabel and McDonald.
I think you.
Honestly, whoever. Well, actually, I can't say that because the NFL honors are going to be before the Super Bowl. Let me just say this: the NFL honors voting committee is going to have a big decision to make.
I mean,
So
you could even, and it's not going to happen, but you could throw Liam Cohen in there too. To be
yeah,
honest, like he's not going to win it, but he definitely deserves some votes. I
oh for
think.
sure,
Talk
for
about
sure.
taking a Jaguars team and turning them around. But
Well said. You want to go over winners and losers now?
yeah, so where do we want to start with this?
So I'd say the biggest winner in this whole thing is this is going to sound weird, but the diehard nerdy NFL fans, because those who really know that it's the Super Bowl rematch of the infamous should have ran the ball / Malcolm Butler interception. So let's see if Seattle can exact revenge from 10 years ago.
I was going to
That'll
say
be
that was 2015, right?
yeah. And then I would say the biggest loser of Championship Sunday is you're going to find this funny, but the state of California. The game is in California, and not a single team from California is going to be in the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, you pretty much have a West Coast team though in Seattle, but like,
No, true. It's just you could have had San Francisco in the game, you could have had the Rams in the game, or you could have had the Chargers in the game, and they were all knocked out. So
I mean, the Niners, if they had just stayed on track, they would have had home games all the way through,
I know, which
which
would
would
have
have
been
rarefied air.
right. Which I don't even know if they would have made it that far. We'll never know. But it certainly would have helped. Then I would say another winner in this whole thing is truly New England. I mean, they rebuilt that franchise post Belichick from nothing. Basically, had to replace the whole team. Hired Vrabel after a horrible experiment from Gerard Mayo, and completely just reshuffled the entire franchise. I would say the Patriots fan base is arguably a huge winner in this too, because now they get to see their team in the Super Bowl. And our week 6 prediction came true. We said after New England beat the Bills that the Patriots were a Super Bowl dark horse team, and now they're in the game. So
You know who I would say is a big loser too? The Titans.
yeah, because they let because Vrabel was there, and it obviously didn't work out, right? So
Right. And he is a really good coach. I just think the Titans remind me of the Browns. You could put any coach there and it doesn't mean they're going to win anything.
I mean, shoot. And speaking of the Browns, they even had Bill Belichick there, and even Bill Belichick was ran out of town after a playoff appearance.
Well, that was before like the big Bill Belichick era though.
Right.
But
But still, he was coaching with Nick Saban and Kirk Ferentz and all of those guys, and they all ended up being great coaches in their own right. They just went off and did their own thing afterward.
some in college, some in pro level. But
Right.
I don't know. I mean, it was an incredible week, incredible weekend of football. Now we got to kind of, this is like the weird time where all the buildup happens for an entire, 2 weeks.
Yeah, and what's funny is, and we're gonna get to this, my AFC team made the Super Bowl, and your NFC pick made the Super Bowl. So that's really weird that none of our actual predictions were correct, but we got half and half, which is kind of weird. So
I mean, what do they say? The NFL is one of the more unpredictable sports.
yeah, I mean, you had Seahawks, Bills, and I had New England and the Rams. So
And the whole, I don't know, we didn't really talk about the McDermott thing, did we? But
no,
uh,
we didn't.
what
Unfortunately,
did you make of? Well, since we're talking, I would say the Bills are a big loser of the weekend too. But
yeah, I
um,
would argue the same thing because they would have, and I'm gonna say this too. If the Bills had played New England, I think New England would have killed them.
Yeah, I agree. The Bills didn't have enough offense. They didn't have enough healthy wide receivers. James
No,
Cook is great. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best running backs in football right now. But you can't just run the football 10,000 times and expect to win a game.
no. No, which
And
is why, either way, that unless you wanted to add one more thing, that actually might be a perfect segue into making our picks for the actual game itself. But
well,
if you wanted to add one more, you certainly could.
I do want to add that I think Josh Allen crying in the locker room was kind of ridiculous. Also, um, I this got
Is it because of the way he did it, or is it because grown men just don't usually
it doesn't
do it?
even mean it's not even that, so to
Okay.
speak. It's more of like, dude, you live a perfect life. You have a 6-year, $330 million deal. You're with Haley Steinfeld. She's pregnant. You're gonna have a kid soon. Like,
I think he's crying because he still hasn't made the Super Bowl yet.
okay, but then play better. Like, and you know what? I blame McDermott too because he was there for 9 seasons and didn't even make a Super Bowl in
He was
9 seasons,
8-8 in the playoffs.
which is insane considering. And we used to hear about the Bills every year, including
That
this year.
like makes, and I can't believe I'm using this reference. You might start laughing. That actually makes Marty Schottenheimer look really good.
That's funny. Wow, that is funny. But I don't know. I think they're gonna have to do a major reconstruction on that roster, and they need to get him a wide receiver.
Yeah,
Seriously,
they do.
something.
I mean, them letting Stefan Diggs walk when he did, that was so stupid.
Imagine if they win a Super Bowl now.
Yeah. I
That
mean, that if you want to talk about cursed franchises, that would be another moment of cursed Bills
well,
history if Stefan Diggs wins a Super Bowl with an AFC East rival. Like that's like the biggest like shove it in your face type moment that you've ever seen.
I'll give you. I just thought of another one as a loser. The New York Jets.
Oh, right, because I don't know if this is what we're gonna say. The Jets beating the Patriots in the last game of the season 2 years ago allowed New England to draft Drake May.
Yeah. Well, that's one, but also that Sam Darnold potentially could win a Super Bowl with Seattle.
Yep, which means all he had to do was get the stink out of New York, and that's what he
See,
did.
you know that I'm with it when I don't even get offended by that comment
And
whatsoever.
we're living in a weird timeline, Nick. When Sam Darnold, think about this. Think about how historic his college was. He's the first USC quarterback to start a Super Bowl. That is unbelievable.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
great. I mean, who would be up there? Well, wait, Caleb went to USC, right?
yeah, he did.
So, well, okay, but that's not going to happen for probably another couple of years, at least if it hopefully happens. But Mark Sanchez
Yeah,
was a USC quarterback. He never went.
Mark Sanchez never went to the Super Bowl. Carson Palmer never went to the
Liner,
Super Bowl. Matt
Liner,
Matt
yeah,
Weiner never went into the Super Bowl because that was Kurt Warner's team that made it in '08.
correct. Yep.
So yeah, he's the first guy, which is pretty unbelievable.
It's amazing the amount of big name quarterbacks that come out of USC and they just completely take a dump in the NFL.
And now Sam Darnold has a chance to be the only USC quarterback ever to win a Rose Bowl and a Super Bowl.
And the thing is, like, and I guess we can segue because my next comment's going to be on this, but
Okay.
uh, the comments that I see, and Ben sent them to me.
Okay.
I'm sure you saw it in the Slack where people say, "Oh, well, Seattle's actually going to beat the living you know what out of the Patriots by 20 points."
I don't know if it's going to be by 20, but Seattle to me seems like the more complete team.
Seattle just seems like it has the momentum in its corner. To now, you have 2 weeks that you have to sit now, which could kill some of that momentum. But I think they need to change that. By the way, that there shouldn't be a 2 week gap between the championship games and the Super Bowl.
Well, isn't that kind of good though? Because aren't those guys exhausted? They can't play another game the next week.
Give them 1 week, not two.
Oh, so you mean don't play the next week, but play the week after the next week?
Yeah, like it's a 2-week gap between now and the game. So it's a long time.
So you're saying so it should be the week after the championship games, or the week after, or the week after that week?
I'm saying that I feel like one to take a week off for the Pro Bowl game is ridiculous, by the way.
Okay.
And they need to tighten that up because it's not fair to like Seattle that has momentum in its corner. Now you're cutting it off because you have to put a stupid Pro Bowl game in the middle of it.
Well, would you argue New England also has momentum because they're going to the Super Bowl and playing them? So when you
I would say defensively they have momentum. I don't know about offensively, but
right.
but Seattle I think is full steam ahead. If they were to play now, I think they would absolutely crush the Patriots right now. The way it was. But now that you have a week plus to figure this out. By the way, I think Seattle just has too many weapons for Patriots defense. Between Jigba and Cup and Shaheed. There's so many weapons. Kenneth Walker.
Mm-hmm.
How are you beating that team?
Well, you're beating that team by putting immense pressure on Darnold. Is how you're.
If you rush him, then it's going to be a long day for Seattle.
Oh yeah.
I forgot to look the spread up because I didn't have time, but I think it's somewhere like what 3.5 or 4.5. I think it's somewhere in there.
Yeah, Seattle's favored. I know that,
which makes sense because I think they're the better team. Now the quarterback matchup is fascinating in that regard.
Oh, the quarterback matchup is unreal. It's a guy from USC who's had to work his way to this position. He's played for 5 different teams now. Then you have a guy in Drake May who's 23 years old, has the world on his shoulders, and is from a program that is not a football powerhouse by any means, and he's become everybody's favorite quarterback. It's very unique.
So according
and I know this is weird, this is more pop culture, but I think it's cool that he's still with the same girl that he's been with since they were 16, which I think is pretty awesome.
You don't see that anymore ever.
From a loyalty standpoint.
The one thing I will say is annoying, and Ben had the shirt on the other night, was the Drake May shirt thing that's going around.
I don't get that. I'm not a Patriots fan like that, so I don't understand the reference. But yeah, it is getting pretty nauseating.
But so according to ESPN and the odds that they have for DraftKings, Seattle's currently a 4.5-point favorite, and the over/under is 46.5. So
okay, well, considering that the Eagles blew out Kansas City a year ago, I kind of like a total pick in that game, to be honest with you.
I don't know. I kind of like the Seattle number. I think they could win by a touchdown in this game if they just stay home. There, and I think also it's a east to west coast trip. Also,
correct.
And that's tough.
Well, does it really matter though? Because isn't Levi's? Don't they have a roof on it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that's open.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be like in the middle 60s, so it's not going to be cold, which is good.
Yeah, but it might favor Seattle though, because they're used to that. They're used to that weather on a weekly basis.
Right. So, man, this is going to be a really, really fascinating game. But get ready for the over analysis part of this now, because we're going to spend 2 weeks talking about it.
Would you say right now? Are you ready to make a pick right now, or do you think it's too early to make a pick?
I mean, we just came off the championship games. I might reserve our right when we do the live show on Friday, maybe to make a final pick. I think. Okay. So I think it's too early. I mean, we could talk about the game. That's fine. But I think it's too early at the time we're recording this to make a pick.
Yeah, I would agree. But yeah, we're definitely gonna have more analysis on the full football forecast live show a week from this Friday. So be sure you guys check that out. 6 p.m. Eastern is the start time for that. We'll go over all our picks. We'll do some fun props. And it's not the props as we were kind of alluding to this past week that you're used to. It's the fun stuff, like what the Gatorade color is going to be, heads or tails, things like that. So be sure to tune into that as well. And we'll give you a full pick when we feel like we're a little bit more ready to do so.
Yeah, it's just too early. We don't know the factors, if there's injuries involved, if certain guys are going to be ready for the game. Like, I don't remember hearing very many injuries, well, except for
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet.
Yeah.
Ugh, how many times am I going to say his name in a different way? Cabernet.
Cabernet makes me think you're talking about wine or
Yeah,
something.
I was just going to say that. I literally was just going to say that. Good minds think alike. But we'll talk about this. Maybe you and I will do a video a couple days before, because
we could probably do that.
That makes more sense, at least, because then we can make a pick for.
I'll probably end up making a video for my site as well. So you might end up getting two totally different perspectives based on what I tell you versus what we tell you.
Yeah, you're gonna get Super Bowl coverage up the wazoo from a bunch of shows here. So don't you worry about that. All right, let's get into the coaching carousel now. This has been wild the last week or two.
I just want to start here. What are the Steelers doing hiring McCarthy? I don't understand. What has he proven?
Nothing
in the last 5 years that makes you think remotely he will work in Pittsburgh. Nick, I'm not even from the Pittsburgh area, but just reading Steelers Twitter, it is a cesspool of people that are so aggravated by this move that some people are going as far as canceling their season tickets. Which I think is a load of baloney. If you can afford season tickets, you should keep them for as long as you can. But
it's hard to get on those lists too to get season tickets.
It is. I mean, I don't know what the exact number is, but for some teams, it's 30 to 40 years.
Didn't you say like the Bears season tickets are like impossible to get?
Yeah, like in my lifetime, I'll probably never end up getting them. I bet.
But you know what? Like, people are overreacting. Now, what I will say is that Aaron Rodgers will definitely not go back there now.
Oh, no way. Because you know the story is resurfacing, right? That apparently he had a bad relationship with McCarthy on the way out of Green Bay a couple years ago.
Well, they did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. No, I'm just saying it's resurfacing again. People are talking about it again, that they had a really bad falling out.
I just, now that he's back there, if he want, first of all, I think Aaron Rodgers is eventually just going to retire sometime in this offseason. But if he's going to come back, it's definitely not going to be with the Steelers now, with McCarthy being there.
No, and speaking of a wild carousel too. I mean, geez. I mean, what do you have now? The Titans have made moves now, and then obviously, just looking elsewhere. Atlanta's obviously made a pretty significant move with Stefanski, which we'll get to in just a minute. But the one McCarthy just changes now the whole narrative of the AFC North to where now, and this is no disrespect to any of those teams, that might end up quickly becoming the worst division in football. And now, if you really think about it, and this may sound bold, but this might end up being the Bengals division to lose next year, because now you have an inexperienced coach in Jesse Minter in Baltimore. I don't know if you can trust Baltimore at this point with how not healthy Lamar Jackson has been. Who knows? That division could easily be where the Bengals are in the running by the end of the season if Burrow is healthy.
I still think Zach Taylor's on the hot seat going into the season if they don't have a good season.
No, which means they have to perform. If they don't perform, he's going to be gone.
You're right. With the way Pittsburgh is heading now, that whole situation is going to get blown up because they don't know what their quarterback situation is. I agree with you. Baltimore's a complete mess right now.
In Cleveland, you have no idea. And at the time that we're recording this, they don't have a coach yet.
And everybody keeps scheduling a meeting and then canceling it. Well, did you see the report that apparently Cleveland is making their coaches take like like tests and knowledge tests and all this stuff. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know.
What that
Another example of just franchise dysfunction. I don't look at that as a positive at all.
blame the owners.
That's almost like they're trying to insult their intelligence, man. I mean, some of those coaching candidates are coming from really good teams. So
Well,
I don't understand that.
blame Haslam. Blame the Haslam family. They're the ones that have done it. But
No, I know.
that you're right. That division's quickly becoming a complete disaster. So let's get into the Jemele Hill comments about the Falcons hiring Stefanski. This I don't even know where to start with this because
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't seen this, it's a little bit out there. Let's just get that out of the way first. And for those of you listening on the audio only side, Nick is beside himself right now as I'm saying this. He can't believe it. So
yeah, so Jemele Hill tweets out, and that should have been your first mistake. When Jemele Hill tweets out something, it's never good. So she tweets out, Harry Douglas was absolutely right. None of the Falcons fans I know like the Stefanski hire. He had a losing record in Cleveland, and they didn't like how he handled the Shedeur Sanders situation. They love Dion in the ATL. God forbid you say Atlanta. It's a black city with one of the blackest fan bases in the NFL, and they have a black quarterback on their roster. So a lot of ATL fans are side-eyeing this hire. Stefanski isn't going to get a honeymoon there. I'm sorry. That sounds like a race bait, doesn't it?
yeah, to an extent it does. And to be honest with you, the other half of it was more of a Deion Sanders love fest tweet than anything else.
You
I
think?
mean,
You
I mean,
think or you know?
I mean, if that isn't remotely obvious, I don't know what is. And to even remotely bring up that they love Deion Sanders, I mean, of course they do. He played for Atlanta 25 to 30 plus years ago. Of course they love him, but that doesn't remotely make him relevant in this whole situation now. Like
First of all, he would never be able to qualify as an NFL head coach right
no,
now.
not even close.
But what does this have to do with Atlanta being a black city and being one of the blackest fan bases in the NFL? What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing, to be quite honest with you. I think she just added it in to fit whatever narrative she wanted to paint.
Well,
That's all.
or she knew it was going to get interacted with. It's kind of like the Skip Bayless effect.
Well,
when
it's
he-
also kind of like the Lynn Jones thing.
No, but do you remember? But do you remember when the whole Damar Hamlin situation happened,
yeah.
and Skip Bayless tweeted the most insensitive thing in the entire world? It still holds the record for the most impressions ever on a tweet.
Unbelievable. And
It was
that
like
whole,
it was like 300 million impressions. Like,
jeez.
I can you imagine getting 300 million impressions on anything? Like,
No, and I've gotten some pretty big impressions, but nowhere close to that. That is
and
crazy.
I mean, this has been seen 2.3 million times as of us recording this now. But come on, man! Like, why do you have to make this a race thing? Like, why? Because you don't like the hire? Just say you don't like the hire.
Say you don't like the hire, or another solution, don't tweet anything at all.
I had a colleague that when we started up this network, this was even before you got here, who used to say, "Watch what you tweet." Constantly. That's what he used to say all the time. Hey, Jemele, watch what you tweet. Seriously. Like, and she hasn't taken it down. And I told you before, she started backtracking on some of the comments.
Oh yeah. Well, this is as I was trying to allude to a second ago. This is what she did with the Lynn Jones thing.
Because someone called her out and then she said, "Where did I say I have an issue with Stefanski?" Hello? You're saying that it's not a good hire and that you're having a love fest and saying Dion should be the coach.
And you're saying that anonymous people that you know, which apparently is 10 people, say that they don't like the hire when thousands of other people are saying they do.
I mean, this is such an idiotic comment. If you remember, I think I brought this up to you before we started, where she tried to get ESPN or other people to boycott the sponsors of the Dallas Cowboys because of, I think that was right when the kneeling thing was going on in 2017.
Mhm.
And and she got reprimanded for like 2 weeks from ESPN for making those comments.
Yeah.
And like, do I think it's the best hire in Atlanta? No, I don't. I think people overblow Stefanski being a 2-time head coach of the year in Cleveland. You didn't win anything though, so what's the point? You're 2-time head coach of the year. Who cares?
They won one playoff game, but that was it.
Ooh, one playoff game. They don't have anything else to show for it.
They won one playoff game against a very overrated Steelers team that started 12-0, and then the Steelers just got totally exposed.
I mean, that was so stupid in my opinion. Wait, was that the game that unlocked the fridges or whatever around the? Remember, was it Budweiser or one of them?
Oh yeah.
Was that game or no?
I don't know if it was that game, and I'm pretty sure it was one of Antonio Brown's final playoff games in Pittsburgh.
Until he lost his mind completely.
Yeah, which I don't know. That's a whole different story.
That's well, between him and Chad Ochocinco, they'd have a contest, or NTO
and
also.
Terrell Owens. Although I think Terrell Owens has done. I think he's turned his life around. He's now turned into a content creator, so I can't fully be mad at him anymore from the things that
I think the NFL Hall of Fame committee is being a douche to him, though.
You do.
Yes.
Do you think he should be in the Hall of Fame?
Absolutely, he should be in the Hall of Fame. He's got the stats for it.
I think so too.
I know he didn't win a Super Bowl, but he's probably the best player.
He won in two polarizing environments, Philadelphia and Dallas. I don't really count Buffalo. The Buffalo era was kind of an afterthought, but geez, I mean, he won in a lot of environments where there were nasty fan bases, and he did quite well. So,
and also the whole Donovan McNabb, T.O.
Oh, right, yeah.
That's
my quarterback.
That's my quarterback. And what was the other one when he had that supposed incident where he's got 23 million reasons to live? Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, that's right.
When that was with Dallas, right? When
yeah.
Where someone thought he was allegedly going to commit suicide, and I was
I
oh shit! I'm like, first of all, and that's what bothers me about the media sometimes, where they make these weird assumptions about athletes and they don't know anything.
And then there was that other incident where he was in his driveway of his garage and he was trying to sit out for more money for the Eagles.
Yes.
And then he was suspended for conduct detrimental to the team.
That's my favorite phrase of all time, by the way.
He's like, I don't care. I'm just gonna go on MySpace and see whatever I want. That's what he did, because it was before real social media came out.
By the way, he will always have one of the greatest touchdown celebrations of all time that got him in trouble.
Oh, I remember that.
The cell phone hidden under the bottom of the upright.
Well, there was the cell phone hidden one in the popcorn celebration too.
That one got him in trouble, though. Oh, no, I don't think the popcorn one got him in trouble. I think the phone one got him in trouble because that was a rule.
Oh, right. And then there was the other one where he jumped into the Salvation Army thing too.
No, that was the running back for Dallas.
Oh, really? Okay.
Who was it? What's his name before he got in trouble?
Oh, before he got in trouble. Oh, geez. Was that Marion Barber?
No.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking this. I'm trying to look this up because I can't remember who it is. But he was their running back for quite a long time, and then he got hurt.
Oh, was it Felix Jones?
Oh, Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott was the one.
Ezekiel Elliott, that's right. Yeah.
He was the one that jumped into the Salvation Army donation pot and got fined for it. Which, to be honest, I don't think that was hurting anybody, to be quite honest. That was at a time when the NFL didn't like celebrations at all. And then they finally changed the rules and said, go ahead, celebrate as much as you want. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, back to the coaching carousel. Robert Saleh was another one that shocked me too.
Yeah, and this is one that I wasn't the biggest fan of. You and I both agree he should have stayed in San Francisco. And I'm going to echo what I said on the last episode of Forecast before we move on. He has a uphill battle if I've ever seen one to climb, and it might take him multiple years to fix this mess.
It might take him the whole 5-year contract.
I know, and he needs to figure out what he wants to do with Cam Ward, because it's clear Cam Ward doesn't want to be there. So,
I mean, it's tough to describe like what's going on in that situation. I mean, the only thing I can say is
If we keeping a buck right now, we ass.
I mean, that's all I can say about the Titans at this point.
yeah, that's for sure. And you want to talk about a series of unfortunate events, though. We were kind of alluding to it at the beginning of the show. The weather has been a major impact on the world in sports, and this directly impacted not one but both basketballs that we're used to, the NBA and college basketball.
12 games. 12 games were affected. Well, they weren't postponed. They were changed. Some games were changed like up to 2 or 3 hours. I saw a few games go from 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock in some instances. I don't know if you saw that. Did you?
I did, yeah.
Which by the way,
totally messes up the psyche of the teams. And
well, what about being creatures of habit as an athlete?
Yeah. You're going to change your whole schedule. And I mean, shoot, Nebraska, they had a road game. This is a little different, but they won their road game. By the way, they're still undefeated at the time that we're recording this. They're one of the few undefeated teams left. They had a 6-hour plane delay to where they couldn't get out of where they were playing to go back to Nebraska. So they had the whole court just empty by themselves, where they had to figure out what they were going to do for 6 hours. So they did like paper airplane challenge. Is they went on Instagram Live, conversation, did a bunch of stuff. Like it was funny, but it's clear this weather is trying to make some of these teams make a team bonding experience out of nothing. Which I think this whole week for some of these teams is going to be a week they won't forget, because maybe some of these teams in some of these areas that are being impacted by the weather are going to get closer. So it might end up, despite the travel delays, it might end up being a positive thing for some of these teams, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of movement. Like a lot of the ESPN networks, channels of network, had to do a lot of movement. SEC network, ACC network, ESPN, ESPN2. A lot of games had to be moved around. And then in the NBA too, like they had to cancel 2 games due to not being able to de-ice some of the planes.
Yeah, which is really bad. Which, by the way, at the time that we're recording this, the Bulls have a scheduled game with the Lakers, and even with the weather here, I think it's still happening, which is pretty crazy to think about. So,
Yeah, like the traveling, like I think Milwaukee, or was it it was a Milwaukee game in the NBA. I think travel couldn't happen, so they canceled that game.
Well, and then wasn't there a Toronto Raptors game too that was impacted? I thought I saw.
Yeah, I think you're right. There was that game too. And by the way, we're not out of the woods. From what I'm hearing, next weekend we might get another foot here in New York.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing, and it's supposed to be cold, under freezing, below freezing for the next 10 days. So nothing's going to melt, which makes it worse.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, I'm even looking outside currently for those watching this, and there is snow on the ground galore, and our snow isn't going to melt either, I don't think.
There is so much snow that like it was coming up to like my hip at one point.
Yeah, that's not good. Just for your own sake, you should try to stay as safe as you can. I would say from a life standpoint, for those of you, but you probably weren't thinking you'd get life advice today, but only go to essential places where you need to go if you're in various parts of the country that are impacted. But luckily, if you're on the West Coast, I don't think it's going to impact you as much. But if you're anywhere that's east of Dallas per se, you gotta be careful.
This storm, by the way, I'm no weatherman, and I don't try to play one on TV either. This storm apparently was like 2,000 miles wide. This storm that hit.
And I'm sure you saw it at the beginning of last week. It looked like it was going to be all east, and then it started heading this way.
Yeah, it went upward slightly, and that's what caused more snow. But I knew this was going to be bad, and I'm like, shoot, like this is going to be one of those days where it's just like we're going to get hit. And by the way, this is one of the biggest storms we've had in quite a few years here in this area, at
Oh,
least.
wow, okay. Yeah, I
Um,
don't remember the last big storm we had here. We had one here about 15 years ago that started in Texas and went this way. It was around the Super Bowl to where I remember school was canceled for like a couple of days and people were without power. I don't know if it's to the level of the 2010 storm that I'm referencing, but it certainly isn't good.
no,
So,
I mean this one, from what I know, started in San Francisco and worked its way all the way to us in Long Island.
yeah,
That's how
that's
far
not
it traveled. But
yeah,
it,
that's not good.
it is what it is. They figured out the games. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it there. Let's get to I actually want to
You want to talk about a venue where people were warm. It was inside the T-Mobile Arena this week in Vegas. That was at least temperature controlled, so that's good, right?
yeah, this was incredible. And I watched most of the main card, at least the last three I watched fully
Right.
all
So
the way through.
you missed Arnold Allen, Gene Silva, and you missed Nama Unison
No,
Silva.
I take that back. I did watch the Silva Nama Yunus. So I was actually the last four.
Okay, so that's pretty good. That's like 85-90% of the card. That's not bad. At least
That
85-90% of the main card that is.
that takedown by Silva towards the end of that match.
Was
Woo!
fantastic. Yeah.
Woo! And they
Yeah.
say, and from what I understand, Nama Yunus is a tough cookie to take down.
She is. She is. I mean, she's a former two-time champion for a reason. You're not going to get her out of there so easily. So,
So
yeah.
that was an incredible takedown. I said to you before the show that Derek Lewis just looked out of shape and
No,
confused out there.
no, he really did. He really did. I mean, this is a longer discussion that you may need to listen to on the MMA Outsiders, which I'm sure Jack is going to have a take on this. But Waldo Cortez Acosta versus Derek Lewis was the epitome of how bad the UFC's heavyweight division is at the current moment. So, um,
Yeah, Derek Lewis looked. First of all, the amount of sweating that he did in the match barely started. First of all, Waldo didn't break a sweat. I don't think
no,
the entire
no, he
entire
didn't.
fight.
No, he didn't. He did not. But in regards to the main event, though, this is a pretty big upset. I mean, it obviously kind of kills the UFC's vibe. They were hoping, at least from what I was noticing, the narrative was the whole week that they were kind of hoping, okay, Taporia is going to fight Pimblett, and now it's Justin Gaethje who wins the interim lightweight title to set up the unification fight. And yeah, I mean, I thought overall this was a great fight, and this is no disrespect to Pimblett because I like Pimblett. I think he's a funny personality, but he got as exposed as he could have in this fight. I mean, this was a Justin Gaethje old school masterclass. I mean, he looked really good.
Even though he looked like he was flopping like chicken wings out there, constantly throwing punches and falling on the floor.
No, I know.
I I said to Zan, and this is just my opinion of it. It looked like a slap fight at
No,
one point.
it's a funny comparison, and I can understand that for sure. By the way, you're not the only one. A few of my friends who are very minimal UFC casuals, I want to call them in the nicest way possible, were texting me asking me what Justin Gaethje was doing in the middle of the fight.
Well, and you were saying that Rogan sometimes sounds off during the commentary, but I don't think he was that far off when he kept saying, "Oh, Gaethje's just wildly throwing fists for like no apparent reason." It seemed like.
Yeah, but it certainly made the fight interesting, and I think Gaethje had too big of a lead, so thankfully the judges got it right. And then I'll keep this brief too because I need your opinion on this. I don't know if I've asked you this. How do you feel about Ilia Toporia's viral tweet, basically telling Gaethje that no matter how hard he trains, he's not going to be ready for him, and get in essentially saying get ready for your worst nightmare when I finally fight you and stuff and stuff like that. Which, by the way, that tweet is over 7 million impressions now. I think his tweet just made that fight even bigger.
So my opinion on these BS like setup tweets that people do,
okay.
like especially in the UFC, where these guys they'll say, "Yeah, I'm ready for you, and if you try to fight me, I can kick your ass." You know what what it sets up for, right? When you do that,
bad mindset and a potential eventual defeat, because all you're thinking about is, oh, what is social media gonna think about this?
oh no,
And
I didn't even mean it from that standpoint. I meant like usually when you call somebody out and you say that there's no way you're beating me, that usually leads to you get your ass kicked when you fight. Like I don't know. First of all, Gaethje's what, like 37?
yeah, Gaethje's 37, 38, somewhere in there,
He's
and
he's on the
you-
older side, right?
yeah, and this is his second title shot, because he had one against Khabib and he lost to Khabib. So this is more than likely his last shot at a world championship.
I thought I heard Rogan say during the post-fight interview that he's hoping to see Gaethje at the White House card.
Yeah, which I think is realistically possible. I mean, I think it makes sense. The UFC would have an American in the main or co-main event with a chance to win a title in Washington D.C. I think it would make a lot of sense.
By the way, Patty's a beast, man. Like, cause his face got punched in, and he was still standing in there.
Yeah, and I thought he was super classy afterwards, saying if he could lose to one guy in the UFC, it would be Justin Gaethje. So he knows that he was in a hard fight. So,
do you think though that the amount of pressure and the amount of spotlight they put on Patty was almost like setting up for failure?
Unfortunately, yes.
Because I saw it everywhere. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, Patty's the massive betting favorite," and
yeah, and I think Dana said it best. He's like, when he's the underdog, he fights well, and when he's the favorite, well, it's the first time he's ever been the favorite in the UFC, which is kind of crazy, or the first time in a long time. I should correct myself. And he doesn't usually fight very well. There was a fight years ago against Jared Gordon, which a lot of people thought Jared Gordon beat Paddy Pimblett, including myself, and he didn't fight the greatest in that fight, so it was almost a repeat of that story as well. But overall, though, it's just good to see that the lightweight division is finally has the clarity it needs, because for a few weeks we didn't know what was going on with it. We didn't know what was going to happen with Topuria. It seems that Topuria wants to fight now, so all is good when it comes to this kind of thing. So overall, I thought the night itself was okay. I mean, I think for a Paramount debut, they got a pretty good main event out of it. So we'll see what transpires after this. But overall, I thought the main event was a solid fight.
I thought the Sean O'Malley Song Yadong fight was actually pretty good too.
Yeah, it was a good fight.
I just don't like the fact, and I know you said he does it all the time, but the waving fingers is such a stupid thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, he does it constantly. I mean, I went to, as someone who's been to a Sean O'Malley fight before, this was way before he became who he is now, but he fought Chris Moutinho on the Poirier McGregor trilogy main card. It opened the card, and he did the finger thing to Moutinho too. So he's done it for a long time.
I thought, and I said it to you before the show, I thought O'Malley was going to get tapped out again early in the fight. Like,
yeah, it looked like it.
This guy has no grappling ability whatsoever.
No, he certainly doesn't. You're not the only person that says it. Thousands of people agree with you. So
why doesn't he work on it though? Because don't you need a grappling game if you end up on the ground?
Yeah. I really don't know. That's a very good question.
Because I like Sean. I mean, he's a little eccentric. I'll give you that. But I like his personality. Him and Patty, like they're very eccentrically large when it comes to their personalities.
Yeah, they're very similar. It's almost like Patty is the British version of him,
or Irish. But yeah, I think he's Irish, right?
No, he's Scottish
or Scottish. Okay,
but he's from England originally, though. So
Because I was going to say the accent. It sounds Irish, but you're right. It is Scottish.
Mhm.
But overall, I actually liked watching this card. Actually, the main card. And now that I have the easier ability to watch more
Yeah,
fights,
for sure. For
uh,
sure. And
what
it was
is what is the just so everyone knows what because this is double numbered cards, right?
right. So it's a rarity. So we had UFC 324 to this past Saturday, and then this weekend you get UFC 325 in Sydney, Australia. Same start time in the United States. It'll be Volk versus Lopez 2 for the UFC Featherweight Championship.
I
So
like Lopez.
should be
He's a nice
should be
guy.
should be a good fight. And if Lopez wins by a massive upset, it sets up a huge trilogy. Which, if the UFC needs another title fight for the White House card, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing those two fight a third time. That'd be kind of fun. So
So this is the time period now, as we're recording this, that he's starting to make that card now officially because he said when 324 was over, he was going to start on the White House card, right?
correct. So he's actually supposed to be starting it on the day we're recording it. Well, by the time this airs, we might actually get some clarity as to who's fighting on the card. So
Well, it's a good thing you're live on Thursday because maybe you'll have maybe some clarity of announcements for outsiders, maybe
that'd be
depending.
kind that'd be kind of cool. And in fact, with that being said, in the segue into outsiders, I think that's a perfect place to wrap episode 302. This was fun.
Yeah, great episode. Like I said, we'll give you some more clarity on Super Bowl picks because it's just too damn early right now to make a pick. Um, so we'll get you a pick. But the next time we'll be on again before Super
Yes,
Bowl
we
also.
will. So it'll be February 4th is the next episode of this show.
Okay, so you'll
So
get a pick from us before we'll do it on the next episode. We'll give you a pick. Actually, the next time we do an episode, I'll be a year older too because my birthday's February 3rd. So, um,
I'll make sure to serenade you the next time we're on.
so yeah, you'll get a pick from us next show. So don't worry about that. But make sure you like and subscribe. YouTube.com/ETB Network. Help us to grow. We're at about 2,000 watch hours now. On the YouTube side. We got to get to 4,000 for monetization. So please like, watch, subscribe. It helps with the algorithm. We are now putting up individual interviews from all shows. So now you get those in its individual form, including the last one you did with the Music
Scott
City.
Ramsey.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of Music City Bowl, CEO, president. That's up there. So if you want to catch it separately from the show, it's in our ETB interviews section. Callan and I from Press Row, we just had a bunch of interviews. We just had Calvin Sampson. Oi, I'm confusing names. David Sampson, sorry. The former Marlins GM and part of Meadowlark Media. So go check that out on the video side. But if you can't watch on the video side, listen to Empty the Bench and all ETB Network shows wherever you get your podcasts, whether that includes our show, whether that includes Bando's breakdowns, whether that includes all other shows that we have across the network.
Yeah, and by the way, just as a quick programming note, Bando's breakdown is going to be a lot busy, and there's going to be a lot of interviews coming up over the next 6 to 10 weeks. So if you aren't already subscribed on your RSS feeds to Bando's breakdowns, you should, because Bando's breakdown is going to get a lot busier here as we move closer and closer to the spring. So
Yeah, it's going to be busy. We're heading into the college basketball season. We're heading into March Madness. We're going to do some more coverage for March Madness. So make sure you check us out. Obviously, you'll have Gridiron Gridlock and you'll have Noteworthy in the NCAA, our live shows to check out college basketball. So I checked this out the other day. We have a show on every single day now across the week.
that's awesome, and that's something you've always wanted. And even though it took us until 2026, we finally have it.
Yeah, so if you look from Sunday to Saturday, there's at least one thing live every single day or taped.
Yeah, and if you need a weekend recap of everything in the world in sports, be sure to check out one of three mediums: Zanzinger Part 2, Bando's Blitz, which is returning this week, and or Bando's Bonus whenever time allows. Oh, so if you need any extra content, I usually have it. So
And by the way, and we'll talk about this when it comes up next week, but you with Zinger Part 2 and the guys with Gurus, we're going to do a 2-hour push on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll jump aboard that depending on my schedule. I'll try and make some time, but we're going to try and do some coverage. I'm working on unnecessary wagers to do an hour on Super Bowl Sunday, depending. So we're doing a lot for Super Bowl. So just make sure you follow us across social media. We'll tell you that. But until then, this has been episode 302. Make sure you join us next week for episode 303, which will be our official Super Bowl 60 picks. And some we'll probably get into more college basketball because that's now in the front. NBA because now we're kind of transitioning seasons with college football being over. So until then, he's Zain Bando. I'm Nick Morgasen. Have a good week, everybody. We will see you next week.
Have a good one, everyone.